Hi, Ron from Clarity. In this video, we're going to stand up a fresh installation of Payment Hub, then walk through the setup process of configuring the payment portal and establishing a bidirectional integration with Epicor P21. I'm logged in as an admin in a fresh installation, and I'll start the site setup process. The first step allows me to upload both a site icon and favicon. Since this is a Clarity demo site, I'll upload our Clarity A. The next step allows me to name the portal. If I had an existing branded site, step 3 would allow me to customize the colors, the buttons, etc. to match, but as this is a demo site only, I'll move on to step 4. This step allows me to decide if users can self-register in the portal, which page a user lands on once logged in, and finally, if the merchant staff can emulate customer accounts for support and processing payments. Step 5 allows me to enable payments on account and whether the merchant will allow partial payments, as well as which dashboard reporting widgets show up on the dashboard. Finally, I can turn on invoice aging reporting as well. This turns on a visual coloration of invoices to help customers see which invoices are past due and by how many days. The next step is where we configure which payment methods are available in the portal. These include cards, ACH, and credits. Step 7 is where we establish our integration with the merchant's ERP or back-office software. For this installation, we've preloaded connectors from some Epicor ERPs, and this video will connect to P21. The setup guide contains all the information necessary to establish the connection. On the Settings tab, we fill in all the necessary credentials and keys needed to authenticate. Next is the company information, followed by how many invoices we want to pull into the portal per sync. Finally, we'll save our configuration, click Test Connection, and verify that the connection was made and the authorization token was created. To validate, we have a Testing tab where we can click on the individual items that we're pulling with the integration, and it will run a query for that item in real time and pull back 5 records to showcase exactly what data is being pulled with each integration query. Step 8 allows us to select which payment gateway we're connecting to, and if we're going to be syncing products for those portals that turn on optional sales order payments. We'll bypass this step and just use the mock testing gateway. And that's the basic setup of a payment portal. Typically, this is all that would need to be done, and on a schedule, the integration platform would run in the background and start pulling accounts, users, and invoices from the ERP into the portal. Let's show how that works behind the scenes and sync some invoices over now. Clicking on the Schedule Task Management tab, then on Tasks, we'll look for the Sync Epicor P21 Invoices task and click the In-Queue action. Heading into Details, we see that we received a task to pull 100 invoices. The progress bar indicates our progress. Once done, you can see at the bottom we've now got 100 invoices loaded into our portal. We'll do a search for our customer lens crafters and see that they've got 82 invoices. Since this is a demo, I'll quickly create a user for that account that can log in to view and pay on those invoices. We'll open a fresh tab and we'll sign in as that user. Visiting the dashboard, we can see that we've got 82 open invoices with a total outstanding balance of just over $35,200. Since it's a new account, you can see that we don't have any payment history, anything in our digital wallet, nor any addresses in our address book. We'll jump into the Invoices tab, and we'll pick an invoice ending in 989, and we'll make a payment. Before we do, you can see the red unpaid status and the balance due line of $58.50. Let's make our payment. First, we add the billing address information, then the card information, and click Pay. Once the payment has been processed, we can see that the status is now green and says paid, the balance due is now 0, and if we click on the Payment History tab, we can see the timestamp transaction of our $58.50 payment. Back to the dashboard, we can see that instead of 82, we're now at 81 open invoices, with a recent payment, a payment method, and billing address all stored in the user's profile. Finally, we see in the recent invoices that our most recent entry now has a 0 balance as we just paid this invoice off. Since we're in demo mode, we'll head back over to our scheduled tasks and this time queue the Sync Payments to Epicor P21 task. Drilling in, we can see that it's syncing payments. On initial sync, it's looking through all the invoices to see if any payments were made against any of the invoices. And at the bottom, we can see that it found our invoice ending in 989 with a payment of $58.50. We can see all the fields that were synced at the bottom, and when the sync is complete, one payment was synced. Now to show that our payment was indeed processed into P21, there are two quick ways that I know of. In P21, the first is to navigate to the transaction cash receipts and search for our invoice number. I'll go back and grab the invoice number from Payment Hub, then back into P21, query that number, and it shows that the invoice has been paid in full. To see the actual payment, we can visit the Accounts Receivable Inquiry Customer Master Inquiry. We enter our customer ID, click on Payments, and here is a cash payment with today's date in the amount of $58.50. Clicking on Invoices, filtering to Paid Invoices, we can find our invoice ending in 989 with an invoice amount of $58.50 and an amount remaining of $0 after a payment applied of $58.50. So in summary, we stood up a new installation of Payment Hub, we ran the Setup Wizard, we synced over 100 invoices that were generated in P21, we logged into Payment Hub as a user and paid an invoice, and finally, we verified that the payment was appropriately processed back into Epicor P21. Thanks for watching.